I've created 5 checkpoints that you need to reach before you ask for her number. This means rather than going out on a limb when you ask her out, you've got plenty of feedback that you're both on the same page before you make your move. Apart from helping to improve your confidence, safe in the knowledge that you're timing your move just right, this also respects the signals that she is giving you throughout the interaction. Plus, if she's not genuinely interested, apart from avoiding that feeling of rejection, you can save your time and energy for a woman who is. So let's get started. Don't waste time guessing if she wants to speak to you. Go and see for yourself. If you constantly don't approach women because you think, oh, she looks busy, she's with her friend, I'm going to be intruding, she's got her headphones in, I want you to notice how these excuses will stack up and slow your progress to a halt. To get in a great mindset around meeting women, ask yourself, what's worse, thinking about it or actually doing it? Quit hypothesizing what the outcome of this interaction will be. Start taking action. This is where you're also going to start to get great feedback and really start to learn. If you've allowed your excuses to get in the way and you haven't even attempted to speak to her, you are falling at the first hurdle. Put yourself instead into the top tier of men who are comfortable approaching and interacting with women. This checkpoint is really important because if she's not focused on you, she's not paying attention to you, no matter what you say, it's going to be nearly impossible to make the impact that you want on her. Think of it a little bit like being a stand-up comic. If the audience is still getting into their seats, they're eating their popcorn, and they're not really listening to your jokes, no matter how funny you are, you're not going to get the reaction that you want. If you are having serious issues at this checkpoint and are consistently failing to capture her attention, from over 15 years in-person coaching experience, I can tell you this is going to be largely down to your body language and non-verbal signals. So before we move on, can we quickly check that you've got the basics right? You're speaking slowly and clearly. You're projecting your voice, not to the point of shouting, but it's louder than your normal range. You're standing upright, no hunched shoulders. You have your feet slightly wider than hip width apart. Your hands are visible, not tucked into your pockets or hidden behind your back. You're smiling. You're making eye contact. You're approaching her from her 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock position. You're not too far to the side or too far behind her, which could either come off as kind of scary or she may not even realize you're there. Bummer. If you do all of these non-verbal cues successfully, in the vast majority of times you attempt to speak to women, she will stop and pay you some attention. If she doesn't, simply move on. Some people are too busy or don't want to talk to strangers, and that's completely fine. To really hone your skills here, I hope you can see that in-person live training, where me and my coaching team take you out, can really help to hone your skills. Reading the books, watching the YouTube videos, doing online programs can only get you so far. My Academy program offers over 17 hours of in-person training with myself and my coaching team over a 4-day intensive in London, alongside 8 weeks of online masterclasses and WhatsApp coaching. We get literally life-changing results. You can just read our reviews page. I am always looking for the most worthy and motivated guys to coach. If this could potentially be you, please click on the link below this video and apply to be part of my academy. After you say your icebreaker or opening line to her, you're going to need to do something to proactively continue the conversation. And side note, if you want some advice on exactly what to say to women, check out the videos I've listed in the description. If you don't give her a sign that you'd like to proactively continue this conversation, guess what's going to happen? She's going to say, "Thank you very much," and walk on. She literally won't even understand that you have an intention to continue talking to her. So you have to say something. In over 15 years of coaching, the easiest way I've discovered for you to do this is simply to offer your name by saying something like, "I'm Sam, by the way." Please notice here, there's a subtle difference between saying, "I'm Sam, by the way," and saying, "What's your name?" When you say, "What's your name?" and phrase it as a question, this can feel much more intrusive. Instead, if you simply offer her your name, she's really likely to reciprocate, and this will feel more natural in the conversation. If she doesn't reciprocate, this is a strong signal that she's just not comfortable within that interaction, in which case, mission abort, wish her a really great day and get out of there. When you're talking to a woman, you must both be interested in her and also interesting as a person. If the conversation becomes imbalanced, either by you talking at her and her not really contributing anything to the conversation, or if you effectively interview her and she's responding to you but knows really little about you, both of these imbalanced forms of conversation are going to make it hard for you to build a strong enough connection with her to justify asking for her phone number. Simply being aware that a conversation should feel balanced is a good start. It does take a bit of time to get to balance though. In the first minute or so of the conversation, you can expect her to be looking at you and thinking, "Who's this guy?" Before she will step up and match or even exceed your contribution to the conversation, she needs to know a little bit more about who you are. So at the very start of a conversation, you're going to need to share more information about yourself to build some trust with her. That's why it's often a far more effective conversational tool at the beginning of interactions with women to share some information about yourself rather than simply ask her questions. For example, rather than saying, "So what are you up to?" or "Do you work around here?" both of which could come across as a little bit stalkerish, it's instead often much better simply to ask yourself that question and give her your answer. All of these examples suggest that you'd like to know more about her, but they inquire in a subtle way. They also offer a few pieces of information about yourself, whether that's what you do for work or an indication of where you are originally from. That's actually a really useful piece of information to put forward, particularly if you have an accent that isn't native to the place that you're meeting women. If you're able to share statements like these, plus maybe asking her the odd question, and you're still met with tumbleweeds, again, this is another get out of there situation. Most women, when they're comfortable, provided you pause and give them the opportunity, will contribute to the conversation. If she doesn't contribute enough to the conversation, or you get stuck in a very superficial level of chit chat, you're never going to build enough connection with her to justify asking for her number. In fact, you shouldn't even want her number because you haven't connected yet. That's why I want you to become really aware of whether this conversation is balanced and what her level of contribution is. Here's a Hayley Quinn stat for you. I think 90% of men go about asking for women's numbers in completely the wrong way. First of all, a lot of men see getting a woman's number as a necessary outcome from having started the conversation with her. In my opinion, it's actually better for you to filter out women who aren't that open or who simply aren't that interested in you. You only want women's numbers that you actually connect with and who have also invested into the process of getting to know you. You don't need her number. If there's no connection, you don't even want her number. There's so many other women you could potentially meet. Instead, asking for her number should be the natural next step of an already great conversation. You certainly don't need to win every interaction with a woman. You just need a game plan for how to move things forwards with women who you really connect with. So provided you've gone through checkpoint 4 and she's now freely contributing to the conversation, I want you to ask yourself the following questions. Is she saying anything that really resonates with me? What excites me about her? Is there anything we could have fun disagreeing on? What qualities is she expressing about herself? Do I like those qualities in women? Is there anything idiosyncratic about her that I could tease her about? These questions are all designed to focus your mind, to get out of that internal panic of just get to the finish line and ask for her number. Instead, you know when you've had a good enough quality of conversation with her to justify asking for her number, when you can say things that highlight or tease her on aspects of her personality which she has revealed to you through having a good quality conversation. If you can say a compliment like this to a woman, it's actually the most natural thing in the world to follow it up by saying, look, I've got to run, but it's been great talking to you. Let me get your number. Whether you're complimenting her on an aspect of her personality or finding something to notice about her that you can playfully disagree on, you wouldn't be able to say these things to her unless you'd had a certain level of connected conversation. Following my checkpoint system will also enable you to orientate yourself better in your conversations with women and only ask for a phone number when you feel that there's a good opportunity this is going to lead to a date, rather than having a ton of numbers that never go anywhere. That being said, the absolute best way to coach you on this is in person. It is in the real world. So if you are tempted, if you're curious, if you're willing to put the effort in and learn how you can become far more successful with women, just click on the link below to apply to be part of my academy.